There you go. Hey, everybody, I'm the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are checking out Open. Yeah. Coming up on today's show, we'll kick off Black Music Month by sitting down with a music industry insider and broadcast radio professional who gives us the latest news on everything happening in the world of music and entertainment. Then we'll hear from the founder and coordinator of an organization that supports women and non-gender conforming folks in the comics and multimedia industry. She'll share her story and so much more. Plus, we'll connect with the founder and president of XXposure. Watch out, it's the PR firm, the big one. Going to shine a light on his new book, too. And then finally, we'll sit down with the executive director of an organization dedicated to education, service, and inclusion while protecting the interests of the Muslim community. So sit back, kick off your shoes, and relax your feet. We're wide open. Here we go. There you go. Hey, everybody, I'm the Doc Bob Lee. You're watching Open. It's that live, interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. So stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, June marks the start of Black Music Month. And what better way to kick off the month than to sit down with a music industry insider known as the dime piece of radio with illustrious radio careers and the assistant program director. She did all of that stuff. And the music director at Atlanta's V103 for over a decade. So she's down by law and she knows the way around. She'll speak about the significance of this month and highlight the music legends that have paved the way for our current stars. So please welcome to the show, Tosha. Tosha Love is in the house.
Hi.
Hey, Tosh.
Dr. Bob, I am so overjoyed to be with you. I grew up listening to you on the radio, and I'm a huge fan.
I heard you grew up in the Upper Bronx.
I grew up from White Plains, Westchester, not White Plains Road in the Bronx. However, I
Yeah.
spent some time there too.
Yeah, that's the Upper Bronx.
Okay, well. If you want to, give me that honor for today, I'll take it.
Yeah. Well, you deserve it. You've been in the business for a while, and you know a lot of the players in it, and you're still dabbling. You said.
I am. I still do a lot of voiceovers. I still do guest appearances, TV appearances. I drop a little dime any chance I get when people want to talk music, hip hop, R&B. I'm all for it.
Yeah, and they call you what, the dime dropper?
No, but I can drop dimes.
There you go.
But no, they call me the dime piece of radio. It's a radio tag along with Tosha Love that I've had since the start of my career. When I first started in radio, doing the sound room at WRG here in Atlanta, along with Chaka Zulu, who now is the CEO of DTP and Ludacris. So I started there.
I like that. How'd you get the name the dime piece of radio? Because you
We
can
were in
spill
the
some
studio.
tea, drop the dime. I was thinking in those areas like that.
I understand and I can appreciate it. Well, it was a culmination of those things, but it was, when I started in radio, dime piece was the phrase for hip hop when they saw a pretty girl or,
Right.
LL would say it, all the Fabulous has said it, a couple of songs about it. So basically, I just became the dime piece of radio who also, in turn, would drop a lot of the dimes in what was happening in the music industry.
Yeah, that's good. So you're doing some great things today too. What inspired you to get involved into this music game and the career that you have pursued?
Well, to be honest, Dr. Bob, you play a large part in that at BLS. When I was at White Plains High School, we had a radio station, and I would go on air during my lunch
Yeah.
break at White Plains High School. It's just the craziest thing. And of course, the signal was not as clear as it is over at BLS or,
Yeah.
a major radio station, but people can hear me in the lunchroom. So I kind of fell into radio there. And then when I came to Atlanta, I started my radio career here as well. And then from there, I started working with a lot of different record labels, a lot of record artists. And that's my career in a nutshell. It's all here.
And
So
you had that,
it's been
yeah.
exciting.
And you had that New York connect. So when you go down south and different places, yo, you from New York? What part of New York you from?
Well, it does help.
Yeah.
Ironically enough, although I've been here for so many years, I've never lost my New York accent. People say it's an accent. My husband is from the South, so it gets a little challenging. Kind of like Lucy and Desi when they were talking. But no, I hope to never lose my New York sound.
So we're celebrating Black Music Month. What are some of the things that you are contributing to Black Music Month, or that you want to talk about today, or share with us?
Well, thanks for telling for bringing that up. One of the main things that I love to do during this month is visit a lot of schools, and talk, and really help educate our young folks that do want to get into the music industry.
Yeah.
We are talking about Black Music Month, which was started in 1979, right, by Jimmy Carter, because he used to go to all the music festivals or throw the music festivals, co-sign on them, but he never made it something just so big, and never gave it a proclamation, never made it official. But thanks to Diana Williams now, who was really the champion for Black Music Month, she was able to get a proclamation signed in 2000 by Bill Clinton. And we've been celebrating it ever since, from Barack Obama, our President Barack Obama. Let me make sure that I make that clear. President Barack Obama, who came in and embraced Black Music Month by having several music concerts by Black artists come to the White House. So, and then since then, it's just been so many celebrations. And I wish I was home in Harlem, because I can imagine from the Bronx down, I can just imagine the music festivals that are going to be happening this summer.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We're going to be all over the place. So you mentioned going into the schools. So you'll be visiting schools throughout the tri-state area?
Actually, here in Atlanta, we have a lot of different music programs at schools. So I will go in, and the music teachers will ask me to come in to speak to the schools about the music industry. I also sat on the board of the Recording Academy here for the Grammys in Atlanta. They also have a Grammy program that goes into the schools. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of different events where we work to get students motivated and to really embrace the music arts.
Yeah. And the name of the organization you're working under is what? You're taking that organization into the schools and creating the awareness of Black Music Month?
Right. So there are different organizations that are already established, such as the Recording Academy. For the Atlanta chapter, they go into the schools. They will ask me, along with several recording artists, to go in and speak on different panels. In the past, I've spoken on panels with the wonderful, great Jermaine Dupri, as well as a number of music artists here in the Atlanta area.
Yeah.
And then a lot of recording studios will have events where they will celebrate the month as well.
Yeah. I heard that you may have had some dealings with the King of Pop. Is that right?
I want to tell you yes. However, I have more so had dealings with Janet Jackson more so than Michael himself, but it's royalty, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
So
all connected. Yeah, it's all connected.
yeah, yeah, I've had the opportunity to speak to her, to play her music exclusively, to have an event for her with some of our listeners in the past. I've had the opportunity to go to the studio that she recorded her albums with Jimmy Jim and Terry Lewis. I've gone for the
Hmm.
tour. I've actually had the wonderful pleasure to interview um, uh, Jimmy Jam, and that was at a Grammy event, and it was
Yeah.
just wonderful. But my ties to Michael Jackson run deep from being a child growing up in White Plains to watching Thriller on MTV all those years ago. And
Yeah.
here he is #2. I'm really surprised that he's #2 on the chart, but we got to give our props to Lauryn Hill for making that #1 best album of all times.
Yeah.
But, you know, 2 is not about a bad place to be.
Look at that. We got to talk to you more often. You know a whole lot about what's going on in the business, huh?
I try, Dr. Bob, I try.
Yeah. And now, being in radio, of course, you experience a lot of people coming into the studios, and we go out to different venues and we meet a lot of people. Who are some of the people that you've met along the way?
Wow, I've had the pleasure to have a really in-depth conversation with Kanye West. I have met Mariah Carey on several occasions, Janet Jackson,
Yeah.
everybody from Wu-Tang, Run DMC. There, New Edition. The list is endless. Thank God, I've had this
Yeah.
wonderful career and opportunity to really um, have some wonderful conversations. And then not only that, but just to have conversations with our very own Yonkers, Westchester, Mary J. Blige,
Yeah.
Heavy D. I've had conversations with LL. I mean, New York is #1 in my book when it comes to hip hop, so I'm a fan for life.
Did you tell that to your husband?
He does know this. But I
Because he's
want
from
to
the South,
say
but he understands New York too, right?
he understands. He gets me. He gets me. Dr. Bob, I'm sure you know that. When you're in a relationship, they know what we do. They know
That's right.
what our passions are.
Yeah. Well, big up to your husband. I'm sure he supports you 100% in everything that you
Yes.
do. I see a lot of the pictures behind you.
Yeah.
Talk about some of the people behind you.
So here's a photo.
That's,
I don't know if you can see this one here. This is all of Run DMC. We had them come in for an event, which was amazing.
yeah.
Run actually signed it. So this really is one of my favorite pictures because one year in high school, me and 2 of my other girlfriends went during Halloween. We actually went as Run DMC. So this is this is monumental to me. And we wore the same outfits that they were.
Yeah.
Here's Mariah Carey, Janet Jackson here. Here's a photo with Janet Jackson and I. On this side, here
Uh,
is Little Kim and I. Just wonderful reminders of my career throughout the music industry and radio.
and then Missy's up there on your left-hand side, on your
Yes.
left
So
shoulder.
I've got Missy Elliott here. I've got she actually signed this for me because of course I broke this record and I'm
Uh-huh.
just so thrilled about that. That was in 2004. You got T.I. up here,
Uh-huh.
Joe. You got all of the records from 50 Cent, Tupac, uh, Lloyd Banks, Common. It's just,
Yeah.
and then up here is Lil Wayne. It's just it's been a blessing. It really has.
So, but you've written for a number of people?
No, I don't write. Let's make that very clear.
Uh,
I barely sing in the shower. Like I'm not. But what I can tell you is I can pick a hit record for sure.
yeah.
And so thanks for my wonderful talent in being able to hear a really good song and the passion behind it. I built a wonderful career in the radio industry as a music director.
Are you looking to get back into? Would you do it? Take that step back into radio?
Whew. Now you know good and well that passion never dies, Dr. Bob. You know you own the mic for life, right, Dr. Bob? You can't pull yourself away from it. And I do dabble. I want to tell you that. But yes, I would definitely go back in. But I would prefer to just do a quick shift, get in, get out, because I'm a mom now. And I really, really do like the freedom of music consulting and having conversations and pretty much talking to you.
Beautiful, beautiful. So you're in the know. What artists should we be looking forward to seeing on the come up?
Oh, that's a good question. So, one of my favorites coming out of Atlanta right now is Amaretta. She's been in the game for quite some time. The only thing is that she hasn't quite crossed over into the
Mm-hmm.
mainstream market, but she's amazing. You can totally find her on the Instagram platform. She's been up to radio in New York before. She has interviews and performances all over YouTube, so you can't miss her. Please look for her. But she is a really, really good female MC. And I think given the opportunity, she would really go far. I think that she's a contender with Cardi B.
Mm-hmm.
I think that she's a contender really for a lot of female hip hop artists. I know that a lot of people are into JT, City Girls. Amaretta ranks up there. On the music scene, you know who I would like to see come back? I really would like to see another record come from Jacob Lattimore. I know he's crossed over working on The Shy, but he's such a talented singer.
Yeah.
And I really, really champion R&B to come back. I would love to hear a record from Joe. I think he's vital to the culture. Has always been a wonderful crooner. But we need R&B, and I'm talking like, you know, what BLS used to play. Like, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear that again, you know?
Man, we should come together and do a podcast or something. I don't
Well,
know.
I'm ready, Dr. Bob.
Where can we find more information on you? Website?
Thank you for
social?
asking. Yes. Yes, you can actually find me on Instagram under On Air with Tosha Love. That's Tosha. The O is for originality, I like to say. But yeah, you can find me right there. And I'm also on the X platform under the same name.
Thank you, Tosha. The dime piece of radio in the house. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Bob. I really appreciate talking to you. And it's been a pleasure growing up listening to you on air. I really do value you.
Let's talk more, okay?
I
Thanks
look
for
forward
coming
to
on.
it. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. All right, we'll take a quick break right here. I've got a whole lot more coming your way next right here on Open.
Hey, creative family. My name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm the Director of Education here at BronxNet. And I'm standing in BronxNet's Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx because I want to let you know about an amazing program that we're bringing back that highlights the creativity of community members just like you. Emerging Media Makers is a show that introduces you to BronxNet's certified producers. They've taken a step in their creative journey by enrolling in BronxNet's media training classes. On this show, you'll get to see the many ways that our certified producers have created a space that's all their own. Emerging Media Makers, your passion lives here.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Lowe. I host a show at BronxNet called The Legends, where I bring real legends, DJs, upcoming artists, actually people from the past that's into entertainment. I want to thank BronxNet. First of all, I want to thank for the 30 years of the actually being active here. It has opened a lot of doors for me to the point where I'm branching off to have my own network. Fulfill your dreams here. That's all I have to say.
And welcome back. You know, our next guest is a writer, publisher, and editor residing right here in New York City. And she's also the founder and coordinator of Women in Comics Collective International. And she joins us to speak about her organization's work in supporting women and non-gender conforming folks in the comic book industry and so much more. So please welcome to the show, Regine L. Sawyer. Regina, welcome.
Hi, Dr. Bob. How are you?
How are you? I see all the little fuzzy things behind you.
Yeah, I have a lot of fuzzy things. I'm a collector.
You collect them?
Yeah, I do. It's a habit. It's a bad habit.
I know a couple of people who collect them. What's your favorite back there?
My favorite, it might be, well, I have a couple of things that were like made by people, but I have a Grogu from The Mandalorian, and I have a bottle of hot sauce.
Yeah.
Can't
go wrong with a bottle of hot sauce, that's for sure.
You can't. But I'm really thrilled to be here.
Yeah.
I'm going to mirror Tosha and just say that I'm a huge fan. I listen to WBLS every day.
Well, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it all out, as I so often say. Regina, how did you get started in this growing up in New York City? What inspired your passion as a writer, and what influenced your passion to become a comic book writer?
My family was a very nerdy family. My father would read the Sunday Funnies to me from cover to cover, even Kathy. He always wondered why I want to know about a 35-year-old woman who was depressed. But I always told him, Daddy, read it to me. I wanna know all the things. It doesn't matter. Just read it to me. My brother and I, we would watch The Incredible Hulk, The Greatest American Hero, things of that nature. And it just really inspired me story-wise. I wanted to write stories. And then at a certain point, when I got a little bit older, my brother introduced me to comics,
Uh-huh.
to like Marvel and DC comics, and I started to collect the books. And then I started collecting comic book cards, and it just became a, a thing similar to my stuffed animals, but even greater. So as I got older, I decided that this was something that I wanted to do as a career.
Uh-huh.
And I did go to school for something else. I studied to be a chef right here in New York City.
Oh.
So that's where my degrees are. But I loved writing. And one day I was in a comic book shop and I was chatting with a friend of mine, and a gentleman overheard me, and he had a comic book company and he needed help with it. So I worked with him for about a year. I learned how to edit comics. I learned how to write comics. And I published my first comic book myself in 2009 with my own company, Lock It Down Productions.
How did that feel?
Oh, it felt great. I was crying when I had the first book in my hand. There's nothing like that first book, smelling it, flipping through the pages. It's such an accomplishment. So I was over the moon with that.
And since then, you've written for other companies like Time Magazine.
Yes, I've written for Time Magazine. I've written for DC Comics. I've written for Marvel Comics and a few other comics out there as well.
What were some of your favorite comic books growing up?
The X-Men.
The X-Men, Superman, X-Men, and there was a bunch of stuff out
X-Men
there.
really had my heart. I was a fan of like Batman and Superman, like in the movies.
Yeah.
That's how I knew them, like the original Christopher Reeve Superman and the original Michael Keaton Batman. But in terms of collecting the books, it was X-Men because it was so unique. It had one of the first Black female comic book characters I had ever seen in that Storm. So I will probably forever be an X-Men girl. I love the X-Men.
Yeah. There was something I was thumbing through a while ago, and it said Superman had something deep within our history who helped change the course of something. You got to look that up.
Okay.
I don't want to get too deeply involved in that right now, but you got to look that up.
I will.
Yeah.
I definitely will.
So that's good. So you have anything coming up that we should know about or get involved in?
Absolutely. So I have an organization, Women in Comics Collective International, WINC for short, and we're hosting our annual WINC Creative Conference with a focus on Pride Fest. So we're celebrating Pride this month. We're going to have queer, LGBTQ plus artists and writers, creators at the event. We're doing panel discussions, workshops. We'll have an artist market, and we're doing it at Flushing Town Hall in Flushing, Queens on June 29th from 10 to 5. And it's a free event. Yes.
I'm writing it down. June 29th from 3 to 5.
No, 10 to 5.
10 in the morning. Okay.
Yes, 10 in the morning.
You know, I deal with a lot of nighttime stuff too.
I know you do.
But sometimes I go around the clock and morning turns to night and so on and so forth.
Listen,
but what should we expect on that date?
Well, we're going to have folks coming to talk about their work in the industry, how to stay in the industry, like what their longevity has been, how to get into the industry. Also, professional tools, how to write comics, how to edit comics.
Yeah.
We also will have workshops on wellness, how to keep your mind right in the multimedia industry, how to stay focused, how to stay at peace with yourself and what you're doing so that you can continue to be creative and bring creative work to the industry.
That's very, very important because there's so many things that are out there. I mean, this is the information age, and sometimes we're overwhelmed. So we have to just try to narrow things down and continue to focus on what we want to do in this area of expertise. What motivated you to establish the Women in Comic Collective International?
Well, we actually got our start in the Bronx. I was invited to host a Women in Comics panel in 2012, and all those women on the panel that we had were women of color. And the audience and for the women themselves. I mean, they were surprised to see so many women of color working in this industry. And I spoke to a few of them after the panel, and they were saying, like, we really like doing this. Like, we don't get invited to things of this nature. Like, it's a rarity. So I said, well, that sucks. Like, that's not a good thing. Like, there should be more events. And I said to them, well, we should do more things. So from there, we were asked to do more panel discussions, and then we were asked to do workshops, and then we were asked to do art shows, and then we had a conference, a convention for many years, and now we have a conference. So it was organic, because people wanted to see us. They wanted to see melanated women, especially Black women, but melanated women as a whole. Yeah. And then as the organization grew, some of our members came out as non-binary and gender non-conforming. And so we opened up our membership because we wanted people to feel at ease and at peace and feel like they had an organization they can turn to. And so here we are 12 years later.
12 years in. Wow. All right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I mean, it felt good the first time you did it, right? But a little sticky because we didn't exactly know what was around the corner. But now you know.
Yeah.
For the most part. But you're still trying to get it better and better. Trying to make it better and better. Now, you're a chef. So what else do you have cooking up? You have food there? You can have food there?
Sometimes we do for our events. Every once in a while, I will cook, or I'll have it catered. Like when we do our art shows, I have that catered. I also used to do wine education and spirit education. So I'll have some company. Sometimes it's a local company will come and do a tasting at our art shows. Yeah. Or I'll pick select wines and things to be at the art show along with like wonderful like food and meat platters, things of that nature.
Beautiful. So you're still involved in cooking up things. But right now you're cooking with a pen and paper.
I'm still in the kitchen. Yes.
How can more people get involved in what you're doing?
Sure. They can go to www.womenincomicscollective.org. And all of our information is there. We also have applications if folks are interested in joining. We also have a magazine called Wink Magazine, and that's full of art and poetry and stories. And folks can download the book there. Yeah, there we go.
There you go.
And we also have hard copies of full volumes of all of those issues all together. So folks can check that out. Also, all of our events are there. Also, our social media is there. But if anyone wants to follow us on social media, I can give you the handle now. It's at Wink NYC. So that's WINC And that's all of the handles. Instagram, Twitter, now X, Facebook. You can find us there.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Before we go, what's one piece of advice that you would give to creatives wanting to get involved in what you're doing?
Oh, my goodness. Well, one, to work on your craft. If you like to write as much as possible. Just for yourself. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It doesn't have to be eloquent. Just write something. Also, get into a meditative practice. You're going to need it. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress. But there's a lot of beauty as well. So self-care, and then also work on your craft.
Yeah. And anything that you want to do in life, you have to be passionate about it.
Exactly.
But find out what that is, and you'll feel it, and you'll know it, and you'll say to yourself, what? Yeah. They're going to pay me for this? I love doing this. So if you're getting paid for something that you love doing, that's like, whoa, that's a big bonus right there. And then stick with it, because when you stick with something long enough, something always happens. But make sure it's positive.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us, Regine.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
All right. And we'll see you again. You're always welcome to come back, all right? And let us know more about what's going on with the conference and everything else, all right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Women in Comics. Regine L. Sawyer, founder, Women in Comics Collective International. We'll take a break. We'll come back and hit you with some more coming up next on Open.
check your pulse, and turn off your phone. Get ready to be entertained. The Bronx Education is back, and we've got more youth voices, educational partnerships, exciting global discoveries with Alexi Gingertopoulos, dollar store science experiments with Dr. Whitey Black, and tons of ways for you to engage with us as we bring laughter and knowledge right to your doorstep. Me and the crew welcome you to Season 3 of The Bronx Education. The new season of The Bronx Education is here. Every Monday at 4:30 p.m. on Channel 67 Optimum, 2133 Fios.
Well, here we go. Thanks for checking it all out. Our next guest is a multimedia maverick whose career has helped launch, laid the groundwork for, helped elevate the legacies of music luminaries such as James M. Tume, Melba Moore, Michael Jackson, and so many others. He's the founder and president of XXposure NYC. He joins us to highlight his latest book. So before I let you go, he says, hey, before I let you go, check out my book. So please welcome to the show, Angelo Ellerbee. Angelo, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much, Bob. I feel like I've been here before. And I thank your kind producers and your kind viewers for allowing me to come back on and listen to what's happening in my career at this stage of the game. Thank you.
Angelo, you've been doing so many things over the years, and we appreciate you and love you for everything that you've done to highlight and expose the careers of so many wonderful people. Thank you. I even sat in your house, and we sat with Dionne Warwick. We sat with a number of people, interviewed them, and just highlighted and exposed, like double exposure. We exposed a lot of the things that they were doing in their life.
Yes, and I thank you for that. And I'm celebrating 40 years with Dionne Warwick at this point.
All right.
It is always a pleasure to have relationships that is lasting. It's really important to me. I think what you pour in is what you pour out. And goodness is goodness. And favor is favor.
You know, I tell people all the time, it's that relationships. Can you just open that up a little bit more? Talk about that relationship and how important that is in the business.
Well, relationship is so very important. And I try to tell the young publicists, I try to tell the lay people that it's very important that you establish good relationship. And good relationships is about the truth not being on strike. It's being honest with people. It's being transparent. It's being yourself. It's being original. That is the combining efforts of what relationship is about.
Yeah.
The truth is not on strike. Tell the truth.
Hey, you know what? That's a whole nother book. That's a whole nother book, honest. Angelo.
Hey, man, listen. I think being honest keeps you. My mother used to say, if you tell one lie, you're going to have to tell another lie.
Yeah, exactly.
And you keep lying. So if you start off by telling the truth, you're establishing honesty, loyalty, commitment, all of those things. Because if you take the word friend and you split it in the middle, you got an end of a friend.
Yeah.
So if you start out being honest and direct and loyal, you're going to always have friendships that are going to continue for a lifetime.
And that comes down to integrity also. That includes integrity.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you're going to be celebrating the 40 years. Are you going to be doing anything special? I'm talking about this before I get into that fantastic book that you've written. But are you going to do anything special with Dionne?
Yeah. Well, Ms. Warwick and I, along with Antonio Fargas, we're going to be doing a tour of my book. And I'm starting out in the state of New York, then back to Jersey, to Philadelphia, to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating longevity. I'm celebrating my people. I'm celebrating my culture. It is so fortunate but unfortunate that we have a month to celebrate, which is Black Music Month. We should be celebrating Black music 365 days plus Leap Day. It is important because we're such I want to say we're all over contributors of
Yeah.
music, not just Black music. We're the discoverers. We implement the importance of sound. It goes back to our days of slavery when all we had was music. And we spoke to God through our music, our pain, our misery, our suffering. We spoke to God in music and song. And we created something that is all, we are such creators and we always get taken advantage of. And I try to tell these kids to this day, if you do not understand your contractual agreements, if you have a problem with comprehension and reading and writing, take it back to your lawyers. Break it down to a third grade education so that you understand what commitment is about. I am so sick and tired of people of color, Latino, African Americans, falling prey to being ambitious as opposed to being ambitious.
Yeah.
We want it so fast. We want to be stars. Be careful of that word, star, because if you spell it backwards, that's what you wind up getting into when you don't understand the business of music. And you have to be very, very careful how you go to select your team of people. Don't just hire someone because they told you they were good at what they do. Ask every question that you can possibly ask of them.
Yeah.
Find out what that history is about. Trust is a hard thing. I look at courtships, I look at engagements, then I look at marriage. And that's what management is. It's a marriage.
Yeah.
And it's a marriage on every level of person that you bring to be a part of your team.
Yeah.
You want to trust them. They work for you. Then you all work together. But you're responsible. You're the namesake of it all. Yeah. I want young people to understand that they have to do the business of music and then cater to the craft of music.
So I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people sign, they put the pen to the paper for bragging rights, so to speak. You know, say, hey, I work with this company or that company. You know, I just signed with Warner Brothers or whatever. But what kind of deal did you sign? What did you do? What did you make? So I'm glad you brought that up, to go get the mouthpiece, go get the lawyer to do the business for you. Let them analyze that thing and just break it down so that you can understand this business as well as, you know, the love for music.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it is a business and young people need to wake up. I give out maturity pills with a big glass of water each and every day. And I tell them, take this maturity pill and grow up. I won't tell you what I really tell them, but in essence, that's what it is. If you take this maturity pill and you grow up and understand, you got about a good 7 to 10 years in this business. If you're lucky, you can go on if you do the right business.
Angelo,
and that's important. Yes, sir.
That's very important, and I'm glad and love that you brought that up. But let's jump into your book right about now. Before I let you go, what inspired you to write that book? I know you thought about, you know, some things to put together. You've been thinking about this for a while. You said, hey, this right here is the book, and this right here is the title that I want to use.
You know, I came up with this title because this year went through some medical situations, and I wasn't clear about where I was going to be and if I was going to be.
Yeah.
And thank God I am going to be, and I'm going to continue.
Yes.
But I thought if anything happened, I didn't want to take all of what James M. Tume and all of my experiences taught me with me. I wanted to leave something for people to go and grow by. I wanted to tell my story, but include their story in my storybook telling. Yeah. And what I mean by that, I lay out the nitty-gritties of growing up in the city of Newark and growing up as a gay Black male in the city of Newark, an urban city that didn't understand what it was really all about. It was really important for me to give them the jewels of growing up in Newark to a single parent, just my mom, 8th grade education, a waitress, 4 sisters, 2 brothers. It was a lot of us. And my mother taught me quintessential things of survival, like how to first fall romantically in love with who you are and never let anyone change your originality of who you are. she gave me the kinds of things. My mother, as I said, 8th grade, but I think she graduated from some university of just common knowledge and love and appreciation. I make a lot of money off my mother's teaching still to this day. But I thought that we as a people have been so pigeonholed to think crabs in the basket and pulling each other down. I wanted it to be about unification. I wanted it to be about people coming together and loving one another. I wanted young people and old people alike to have an appreciation to the gift of life, of what God has given to us.
Yeah.
And I think that we miss that a lot. I want my people to go and grow by. It's, I never took the elevator. I didn't take the escalator. I took the steps. I walked each step.
Yeah.
I don't like instant coffee. I like brewed coffee. I don't want anything instant. So when we start to talk about social media, and we talk about, I know somebody in the business that can get me here a little bit quicker. No, I don't want that. Never wanted that. All I ever wanted was to learn and do it on my own. Bob, I started my business out of the basement of my mother's home in Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah.
I started with no money. But I had an energy, and I wanted something to happen for me, because if it happened for me, it was happening for my family. If it was happening for my family, it was happening for my community.
Yeah.
And I'm really about community. I love the people who look like me. I want them to be greater, and then the greatest of what they choose to do. This book is really about self-love.
Yeah.
It's not really about the entertainment industry. It's really about the person that has been incarcerated. It's about the domestic violence victim. It's about the HIV positive victim. It's about saying God gives us all chances of life. And as soon as you come out of that, you can be greater at what you go to do in life. And so what I started was the Angelo Ellerbee Fund. And what this fund is going to do it's going to start in the city of Newark. Every dollar off of my book goes to the HIV Center in Newark, New Jersey.
Excellent.
It is going to provide for so many young gay children who are being put out of their homes because of their chosen perspective of lives. Mm-hmm. We give them 1 year of home life in our facility. We give them 3 meals a day, and we aid them in a scholarship for them to go to school, for them to find their way.
Oh, wow.
This is about leaving. Yeah. If I was going to leave the face of this earth, I wanted to leave with something and giving something back to a community. Right. And so the book is about that.
Mm-hmm. That's great. We got to get you back on, because we want to talk about what you're doing in the community, and how you are funding some of these things in our community also. But where can we go to get your book? They're going to give me a hard wrap.
Okay, so the book we're now into pre-sales of the book, and they can go to at XXposure.com. All of my social media is at XXposureNYC.com.
Angelo, we love you. Thank you for that. I'm going to be sure to pick one of those up, because I got to check that out and see what you put the pen to the paper for, and read more about what you're doing. All right. Thank you for all the work that you've done for me, over the years too. And we'll continue working together, just letting people know what's going on in our community and what's going on in the lives of these people that we hear on radio and see on TV.
God bless you.
God bless you. Angelo Ellerbee, founder and president, XXposure. Thank you so much. We love you, man.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
All right. All right, we'll take a break. I've got a whole lot more coming up next on Open.
Hey, creative family. My name is Timothy Coleman, and I'm the Director of Education here at BronxNet. And I'm standing in BronxNet's Media and Technology Studios in the South Bronx, because I want to let you know about an amazing program that we're bringing back that highlights the creativity of community members just like you. Emerging Media Makers is a show that introduces you to BronxNet's certified producers. They've taken a step in their creative journey by enrolling in BronxNet's media training classes. On this show, you'll get to see the many ways that our certified producers have created a space that's all their own. Emerging Media Makers, your passion lives here.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Lowe. I host a show at BronxNet called The Legends, where I bring real legends, DJs, upcoming artists, actually people from the past that's into entertainment. I want to thank BronxNet. First of all, I want to thank for 30 years of actually being active here. It has opened a lot of doors for me to the point where I'm branching off to have my own network. Fulfill your dreams here. That's all I have to say.
Welcome back. Here we go. Our last guest is the Executive Director of Muslim Community Network, and he joins us to shine a light on his organization's mission and the programs and services that they offer. Please welcome to the show, Husein Yatabarry. Welcome, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Bob.
Hey, they've been talking about you before you got here, but it was good.
Okay. I hope they're not talking smack.
They said, no, this brother has something going on, and he's going to tell us a little bit about the Muslim Community Network.
Yeah. So Muslim Community Network, I'm the executive director. I've been on for about 8 months now, but the organization's actually been around for 21 years.
Yeah.
Right after 9/11, it was started by Dr. Debbie Al-Muntasser and a few others in order to really empower the Muslim community who was feeling a lot of anger towards the community at that time period in time. And we've seen that same anger kind of come in waves due to global events. So right now it's like a really peak time for MCN, Muslim Community Network, to be doing a lot of the work and services that we do.
Yeah. How did you find out about this organization?
Well, the organization has been around actually. Like before I started actually working for the organization, like they were doing programming within the community, connecting with neighborhood mosques. So like I've seen them at the neighborhood mosque in the Bronx where I grew up. And I've seen some of their services. My cousin actually worked there too.
Yeah.
So she actually was one of the people that recommended me for the role.
So before you got up there, you said, let me get into it and find out what this is all about.
Yeah, but they're just not as many large Muslim organizations that kind of work with the community on community education, on leadership development, advocacy for the community. So like they just kind of hit all those facets. So it was just like really interesting for me to work in that nice middle ground between like nonprofit work, but with the faith-based communities.
Beautiful. Husein, what's the mission that we're on right now?
Yeah, our mission is to redefine and shape the narrative of the Muslim community in the United States, and like through 3 core pillars, which is community education, leadership development, and advocacy. Yeah.
No, any misconceptions that you think people have about the Muslim community?
There's always a lot of misconceptions. I mean, going down to the empowerment of women within the Muslim culture and like the Muslim religion, when people realize like even presidents of countries like Bangladesh that are predominantly Muslim happen to be women. So like you have women in a lot of leadership positions. Obviously, Islam is called a very violent religion due to like a very minority of the population that have been extremists and that have caused violent acts. But the whole religion and all the people, which is 1.9 billion now on the planet, are painted as that. We all know that's a quarter of like the world's population. So the majority of Muslims are very peaceful, are very loving, work with their neighbors. Most Muslim countries are not just Muslim. There's Christians, there's Jews, there's all types of religions, or agnostic and atheists. So that's just, it's a very multicultural, it's very diverse. There's no one look. I'm a black Muslim, there's white Muslims from Eastern Europe, there's Latino Muslims in Puerto Rico, there's South Asian Muslims, there's Arab Muslims. So we just get this narrative painted that we're one thing, we're this monolith, but we're not.
Exactly. How many locations does the organization have at this point?
Our organization has 1 location, but we work in all 5 boroughs. So we have an advocacy hub system where we kind of like really have strong coordinations with mosques in several boroughs, where we are able to implement programming, where we're able to have large gatherings and that's really kind of helped us expand without like having to have a bunch of different satellite locations. We're just instead doing the programming in specific mosques.
Yeah. Do we have something coming up that we should all know about?
Yeah, we on June 18th, like we're having actually a rally outside of City Hall. We're working with Councilwoman Shahana Hanif on a legislation, Resolution 0095, and it's promoting religious diversity curriculum within K through 12 in the public schools, and getting staff and administrators professionally developed around how to work with religiously diverse communities. And that's not just for Muslim communities, it's all for all religious communities. Like we're seeing, especially in this time, there's a lot of misconceptions about a lot of religions. Yeah. So it's our job to help work with other faith communities in order to dismantle any misconceptions there may be and like eradicate the ignorance that there is.
Yeah, I read something that the Jewish community and the Muslim community were coming together doing something in Brooklyn. That was about a month ago, I think.
So there's been a number of like interfaith iftar events, interfaith ceasefire events, just kind of coming together and trying to have dialogue, which has been fractured obviously since October 7th. So trying to restart some community dialogue and community cohesion that's been like ruptured since all of these events. Like we see massive amounts of protests, we see massive amounts of deaths and casualties in Palestine. So there's just so much going on that dialogue needs to start, so that this, because we're not at war in New York, but sometimes you kind of feel like you are, like there's just at odds. People are yelling, people are screaming at each other. So how do we restart that dialogue?
A lot of tension going on.
It's so much tension, but when lives are being lost, obviously there's a lot of heightened emotions. So I understand how heightened emotions, but we do have to get to a place where we can resolve and show young people the way to like have proper decorum when having discussion.
Yeah. Well, what would you tell people? You know, you have the mic and you're on stage, and there's thousands of people out there.
Yeah.
And they're listening to you. What would you tell them about the importance of coming together, moving together in the same direction for a common cause?
I think that's the only way that things work. Like in isolation, just being an insular, any group trying to be insular, you don't really get a lot done.
Yeah.
But everything has to start from a place of common respect, values, and like love, love for fellow human beings. I think when those grounding pieces are not there, that's when we see all the tensions. People feel like they're not being heard. And in the Muslim community right now, people are not feeling heard, so there's so much tension. So sometimes people have to take a pause and say, why are people so angry? Why are people in the streets consistently? There must be something behind it, so there must be something there. Find out the root of people's anger so you don't continue to trigger them in conversation. And I think we do a lot of triggering in the media and the news. They're just always consistent triggering. And then when you see the irate, you capture the clip and it's like, oh, this person's just angry and they're wilding out. They're not just wilding out for no reason.
Yeah. And you caught them on that picture, but you don't know the whole story in front of the picture and behind the picture.
What happened for months before they got to that point.
Exactly, exactly. But you hit the nail on the head. You know, love is that ultimate thing. I think that's the thing that we all have in common.
It is.
And we need to share more of that.
I think when we think about all groups and communities, we all have pretty common things that we want out of life. We want our families to be good. We want our families to be safe. We want our families to thrive and be successful. And I don't think it's about a religion or a race when it comes to that. We all want those things for our family.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to political ideology, how do we get there with the tax cuts or tax breaks or this and that? That may differ, but we all want our families to be good.
Yeah.
Muslim family, Jewish family, Christian family, doesn't matter. So how can we collectively all think about how do we make sure all of our families are being successful, safe, all at the same time, regardless of any of these categories and boxes that we're put into.
How can the community help you with what you're trying to do, or what you're trying to establish in our community?
I think just connecting with us at Muslim Community Network. If you want to know more about Muslim communities, we actually do a lot of diversity education at schools and at different corporations, at businesses that want to connect with the Muslim community, learn more about the Muslim community. We have volunteer opportunities where we had people from Chase Bank, people from the comptroller's office come and actually hand out meals with us to the Muslim community. We do English language programming for a lot of asylum seekers that happen to be Muslim and from West Africa. So we do like a French-English ESOL programming. So just kind of people contributing their services with us. It's not always about donating to nonprofits. Sometimes nonprofits just need your resources and your skill set in order to kind of help a community that's often been marginalized, and is a large immigrant community as well.
Yeah. Would you like to thank some of the people who are working with you within your organization?
Yeah, we would like to thank all of our partners, AAA NY's, CARE New York, the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Affairs, the Comptroller's Office, NISM, the New York City Office of Emergency Management. We work with a lot of these city agencies and a lot of state stakeholders as well, assembly members and senators that have been really helpful in order to like help us advocate for a lot of our causes. So we would like to thank everybody for just consistently trying to show love to the Muslim community, especially in difficult times where sometimes we're being ostracized. But yeah.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing in our community. We appreciate you, man.
No, thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate the time.
Where can we go for more information?
Yeah, our Instagram, Twitter, X now, at MCNNY, just one MCNNY. And then you can go to our website, mcnny.org. And if you want to reach out to us via email, info@mcnny. And on June 18th, we'll be having our press conference and rally and testimony at City Council, at City Hall, for our resolution 0095.
Yeah, maybe we can come down and
cover
be a part of that.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to have you.
Make sure you give us that information. You know, I mean, we got it here, but make sure you.
We'll definitely share the information. Yes,
just like that. All right. All right. There you go. Husein Yatabarry, Executive Director, Muslim Community Network. You're on that camera. And you're on that camera too. Thank you
all
so
right.
much.
Thank you so much, Bob. Take care.
All right. Sit tight for a hot second. Look, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show, but thank you for coming. I want to thank our guests for joining us and you, our viewers, for tuning in and checking it all out. You can keep following us on BronxNet TV for continued coverage. You may join our hosts, Kevin Arlene, Darren Jaime, Rena Valentine for new episodes of Open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Make sure you check it all out, all right? Thank you so much. Always remember this, what you are is God's gift to you. What you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. And remember, whether you say you can or you can't, either way, you're right. So say you can and you will. For this is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We'll catch you another day, another way. I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS. We love you all. Peace.